very difficult to trust anything ABC News broadcasts after a military gun demonstration from West Point, Kentucky was used to propagandize a Turkish attack against Kurds in Syria.
And when you ask a question like that, it's very deceptive, John. It's almost as deceptive as you showing all of the bombings taking place in Syria, and it turned out that the bombing that you showed on television took place in Kentucky.
This video obtained by ABC News appears to show the fury
bombing Kurd civilians in a Syrian border town.
A border town bombarded by Turkey's military.
Now, horrific reports of atrocities committed by Turkish-backed fighters on those very allies.
But ABC News claims that Iran launched between 20 and 24 ballistic missiles at 2 military facilities in Iraq that house U.S. troops, according to a U.S. official. There were no American casualties, regardless of MSNBC's blatant propaganda, before all of the facts were known, as they ratcheted up the Iranian News Agency's propaganda panic from Tehran.
Iran's state media is claiming that 30 U.S. soldiers have been killed in this attack.
Iran's show of force quickly became a spectacle of fear and incompetence. As the World War III propaganda railed on, there was an earthquake, and not just any earthquake. As the New York Times reported, a 4.5 magnitude earthquake struck southern Iran at a depth of about 6 miles, the United States Geological Survey reported, in the same region as the troubled Bushehr nuclear power plant. The plant, which is monitored by the International Atomic Energy Agency, has long been seen as a safety concern by Western countries. It has been plagued by construction delays and technical problems and is on the active fault line. Experts have feared that it could lead to an accident on the scale of the Fukushima disaster in Japan or even Chernobyl. A few hours after Iran's missile extravaganza, word of the U.S. Air Force deploying 6 B-52 bombers to Diego Garcia, an island base in the Indian Ocean, began surfacing. Iran must have been ready to shoot anything that moved, and apparently that is what happened.
We have intelligence from multiple sources, including our allies and our own intelligence. The evidence indicates that the plane was shot down by an Iranian surface-to-air missile.
And so, after days of denial, the Iranians finally fessed up to the incident, confirming they unintentionally shot down the Ukrainian airliner. As the Wall Street Journal reported, Iranian officials have invited investigators from Boeing, the U.S., Ukraine, France, and Canada to probe the causes of Wednesday's crash, which killed all 176 people on board shortly after the jet took off from Tehran, including a number of Canadians. It appears the Iranians folded their hand after Canadian and U.S. intelligence revealed satellite footage of the missile launch that destroyed the passenger plane. Days ago, Ilhan Omar had tweeted, Iran could threaten Trump hotels worldwide, and he could provoke war over the loss of revenue from skittish guests. His business interests should not be driving military decisions. And just like clockwork, a suspicious Iranian national armed with a machete, knives, and an axe was arrested in Palm Beach, Florida, near Trump's vacation home in Mar-a-Lago, with no less than $22,000. After Mar-a-Lago had been targeted earlier in the week, according to Secret Service. Meanwhile, the Mockingbird media has labeled President Trump, not Iran or Ilhan Omar, reckless.
What Trump did was reckless.
Reckless actions.
The president's reckless and irresponsible actions toward Iran.
I think the only word for it is reckless.
Reckless military action that could lead us to war.
Reckless president without a plan.
Reckless.
At what point will Iranian propaganda hijack the American narrative?
The administration said this strike was done based on an imminent threat, but this morning you said we didn't know precisely when and we didn't know precisely where. That's not the definition of imminent.
It was very clear. Qasem Soleimani himself was plotting a broad, large-scale attack against American interests, and those attacks were imminent.
John Bound reporting.